For more than 30 years, the Army invested in making me a better leader. We're talking schools, talking having mentors, promotions, deployment. Every assignment taught me something new. But while I was learning how to lead soldiers, I was also learning how to be a husband and a father. The difference was one of those jobs came with training. The other came with people I loved, hoping I'd figure it out. Now, looking back, I don't think leadership ever changed, but I had to learn that my family needed a different version of it. Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. I'm Tommie.
And I'm Lance. Today's conversation is leadership doesn't change, the audience does.
Now, today we're joined by my friend, Chief Warrant Officer 5, retired.
My new friend.
My friend, Dr. Jermain Williamson, a longtime friend, respected Army leader, and someone who spent his career studying and practicing leadership. Brother, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry it took so long for me to get here.
Ooh.
I wasn't even going to bring that up.
But I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm finally here.
There it is.
All right, welcome, brother. Appreciate it. Let's get into it.
All right, Jermain. Before we jump into today's conversation, I need to know where you're from and then what got you into the Army.
Yeah, so shout out 757, Party Down, P-Town in Virginia.
Ain't nobody say do all that.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
So
we still don't
they
know where it's from.
If you from there, you know. But yeah, from small town in Virginia, Portsmouth. It's near Virginia Beach. And, when I graduated from high school, I knew that I wanted to go in the military. I just didn't know, what I was going to do in the military.
Oh, okay.
Originally, I was doing ROTC because I thought I was going to be a JAG lawyer.
Ooh.
But not enough discipline to do that
At the time.
Yeah, of course.
So ended up going enlisted.
Okay.
And so from there, it's, just did my thing. So,
All right.
So have you had aspirations to join the military before you graduated high school or that last year?
No, before I graduated, just coming from a family who served. My dad was in the Navy.
Okay.
Uncle was in the Marines. My brother was in the Marines. Everybody thought I was going to go in the Marines. I was like, nah. They doing the most of it. So, yeah.
All right. So you spent over 3 decades leading soldiers until you became a warrant. But anyway, while also studying leadership at the highest academic level. So what experiences throughout that journey convinced you that leadership at home deserves just as much attention as leadership at work?
Yeah, well, just really it's life and death, right? You think about your kids and you think about preparing them for life. And then you think about when, in an extreme situation, when you're deployed and you have soldiers that depend on you leading them so everybody comes home safe.
Yeah.
It's like this is the same thing.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the core conversation. So we'll start with you, Lance. Was there a specific moment when you realized the way you led soldiers didn't quite work as well at home, the same way with your wife and your children or the people closest to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of them things is, because I look at this as when we're talking about leading at home is knowing your role and where you fit in there with that team.
Right.
So I knew that I couldn't be a dictator because folks know that my wife was also in the military and she also outranked me for about a year.
Oh.
She was always about a year and a half ahead of me as far as promotions go.
Oh.
Yep. So trying to direct her to do something that I knew that really wasn't my role in the trying to tell her that she was doing something wrong in that sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, and I was like, well, let me shut up and let her do what she does, and just pay attention. And so just knowing my role at the house, man, was the biggest thing. Because I've been married for a long time. I've been married for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. So trying to remember like a specific thing, because I learned. I'll say this: I learned because I did a lot of my dumb stuff when I was younger,
And we all did.
and that stuff I try to put out of my mind. Where it's like, don't do that again. Don't think about that. You can't do that now.
Right.
But yeah, just knowing my role, and then just paying attention to knowing the strengths of the folks around me and letting them do their thing and doing what I do and supporting when I
Fitting in instead of fitting out. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got you. What about you?
Yeah, I think that, the communication piece, in the military, you kind of learn, how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And you think that you can, it's
Speak.
important to communicate, right? But you can't use the same technique that you do with soldiers. So I had to figure out that I still need to communicate, but it needs to be different so that, people know that, you can trust what I'm trying to do and help out in the situation, or, I do care about whatever's going on and how do we get to the decision that we need to make.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to communicate. And so that was the big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So it's a little different for me because I wasn't married when I had my son. And so I had to learn, I had to catch myself because I was in it. I was non-commissioned officer, in my mind, superstar on my way to things. So when I dealt with soldiers, my size was an advantage, my energy was an advantage, and my alpha type attitude was an advantage because in the Army, they give you, if you're wearing the rank, you're at least going to get some sort of recognition and we'll say trust, and respect.
Yeah.
But at home, there's nothing to add to who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because they know you as a person. And so my biggest problem was I sort of got in a way of raising my son like I was raising my soldiers. So I was compassionate, I was energetic about it, but I also was holding him to a standard that, even I wasn't held to as a kid, So I literally had to check myself. And I had to realize that I need to speak differently to him. And we're talking 6+, right? 6+. And I'm not talking about smoking him, stuff like that. I'm just talking about being short with him, telling him, hey, don't do that, blah, 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 with the same voice. But I will say this, that my adjustment to my son made me a better leader at work because it made me stop thinking that it had to be my way or not at all. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true what you're saying, man, because you're not going to talk, well, you can't talk to your kids like you're talking to your soldiers.
Yeah.
But when you realize that and learn that, and you go back, that's okay. I got to listen. I got to read the room, read the person, so that I can get the most out of them, so that I can come up with the best
way to
best way
get the
to
thing
deal
done.
with, get the thing done. So.
And I say also, then I got married later, and I'm first sergeant. I'm diamond, you know what I mean? And for those that don't understand, the diamond, I say whatever I want to say, when I want to say it, how I want to say it. But the reality of it is you still have to be compassionate. You still have, it doesn't matter how big your audience is, And so, but when I got married, that was a whole different learning experience because Nikki was in the military. Nikki was a grown woman before she came in. Nikki had a child before she came in. So it was another experience to where I had to deal with, I ain't your soldier. I need you to talk to me a little differently, or you can go do whatever. It was a lot of that. And it also, once again, made me a better leader, and it absolutely prepared me for being a sergeant major. Because sitting in on them staff meetings and dealing with those commanders, you have to talk to people like their peers, but you also have to talk to people in a way that'll get them to trust you, open up to you, and allow you to do what my role was, be a senior advisor. So that was also a learning experience, and that was tough.
That's, I mean, being all three of us, being a black male, you really have to.
You can't mess up.
Yeah.
You can't mess up.
Yeah, and I think that that component of trust is, if not the most important, is one of the most important things. Whatever the relationship is, professional, personal, those people have to trust you first.
Absolutely. To follow you.
Before they listen to you.
100%.
So what's one leadership habit that made you successful in the military but became a liability at home?
Oh, it's my aggression and my loud ways. You know, just think about me as an E5 sergeant, then think of me as a E7 drill sergeant, and then think of me as a first sergeant or sergeant major, right? With my type of energy and everything. So I was loud. I was had, like I said, too much energy for simple stuff. And I have to admit that I started to believe I was right about most everything. And when you're married, that's not the way to go.
That's a recipe for
failure.
For not a good dish.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I can honestly tell you that my leaning forward, like I always used to say, and being aggressive and wanting people to just, hey, get on my back and let's go, that became a liability at home because I had to learn how to not just voice my opinion, but take in other people's recommendation or my wife's recommendations. And then I had to make sure that I wasn't planning and living my life in a way that was leading me apart from my wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it took me years to, and I'm talking about, I'm still trying to figure how to be who I am and not step on the toes of my kids or now adults or Nikki, because a perfect example is we built our forever home in San Antonio, and when we were trying to figure out what type of home we wanted, oh my gosh, I grew up in a stairs 2-level home with family always around and always having Christmas together, Thanksgiving, and all that stuff, right? And Nikki, she had father and mother at home and sister, so there's 4 of them in the house as well. But they sort of were like doing their own thing, you know, and they loved each other. They still celebrated Christmas, but they didn't have like everybody from the family over. They went to other people's houses. Right. So I'm thinking forever home. I want to bring my family here. I want to be able to host them. I want to be able to make them comfortable. And so it took us forever. And I can tell you the only way we are in that house now and happy is because there was a lot of tugging and a lot of relenting. And so the house we're in, Nikki found, and Nikki fell in love with, but it's only because she was able to sort of give in a little bit, and that's how we are. So that was tough for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think, as a warrant officer, you're taught to pay attention to the details, pay attention to the small things. Yes. And I learned that, if I was an expert on the system that I'm managing, whatever that system is, a warrant officer, if I'm an expert on that system and I can explain it to you, maybe not in the detail that I know it, but in some kind of detail, that is going to give me some influence on, how you do your job. Yeah. And, that is not the case at home. And so I had to, your expectation management. Having my kids make the bed and I might expect some hospital corners, but it's not gonna be no hospital corners.
Why are there wrinkles in your daggone blanket?
I remember when my oldest went to college, and she was at Norfolk State, and we moved her in, and of course, we're making it all pretty for her. And I go to visit, and the room is a mess, and I'm like, what is going on? What's going on? And so, it's just one of them things where learning to manage the expectations of who I was talking to, and what I wanted from that audience. Yeah.
I don't have a problem making a decision about things. So if if I'm gonna make a decision, I'm standing on it. I'm backing it. But again, can't make decisions for everybody at the house.
Yeah.
It needs to be a discussion.
Yeah.
So So I just learned that. And again, that's one of those things that also helped out at work, where I would try to get some more opinions on, from my folks. Because I understood that if I can get, that's a good way to get buy-in from everybody if they feel like they were part of
the solution.
They were part of that. So, but at the crib, it's like, nah, you don't. Especially my wife.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing. But I learned.
So that since we've been talking for decades, I thought I was an effective communicator. Then you mess around and you start talking to your wife or your kids, and you're like, I know I'm saying, because you made me think about it. I know I am clear and concise in what I'm saying. Why is your face like that? Yeah. Like I'm speaking gibberish or something.
But that's one of those things too, is like, because I know another thing is that just cutting folks off and just hearing what I want to hear and not listening to everything, because I already have my mind. I already have what I'm going to say, the answer in my mind. Yeah. Where I'm like, I don't care what you're saying. Shit.
I think that's a skill though. As a husband, you have to grow into and kind of learn. I mean, that's a level 5 skill.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You ain't lying.
My wife is a retired W4 Black Hawk pilot, and so she's a A-type personality as well. So
and accomplished.
She ain't listening to I just think I can make the decision, right? It's if she gives me a say, it's what's the input, and I better take her considerations as well.
Absolutely.
But I think, like you said, when she's talking, I had to learn that as soon as she starts talking, to not try to develop a solution in my head,
right?
To just try to listen as closely as I could to everything that she wanted to say before I said something. And that's a big difference.
Absolutely.
And it helps.
Absolutely.
I mean, because that's what I learned, that if I stopped, listened, and then thought about what I was going to say.
Right.
And I came up because in my mind I was like, okay, I got to convince, I got to convince her, and just had to come up with the right word, right words, right phrases or whatever to convince her. Then I'm good. Then I'll get okay, I didn't get it, because my wife is always, I don't have the vision. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Oh my
I don't understand. So then I gotta.
Oh my gosh.
I either have to show and then she'll see, or I have to be able to explain with her. And it goes back to what you were talking about with the communication thing, where it's like, it is so important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because that is such a huge skill.
And I think it's flipped for me, because my wife's the big planner and visionary, and
so
I'm a little bit more grounded, and so oftentimes I'm like, I don't see it. I don't this color scheme or.
But you understand that when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But that's a patience thing,
right?
That you have to, because I'm on the other side, to where Nikki she thinks in black and white. And my mind's in color and 4K, right? And so when I'm sitting there explaining something to her, it took me forever to stop getting upset or frustrated because I'm like, how do you not see? It's like right now I could draw this thing if I needed to, and I've had to do that a couple times. But it also taught me a lot about taking chips off my shoulder and being patient and understanding that I'm proud. I know that I frustrate her on the other side, so I have to stop taking it personal.
Yeah, and as a sergeant major, right, and as a colonel, there's no, if you choose to explain yourself,
Absolutely.
you know, that's going above and beyond.
Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah.
You don't have to understand.
Yeah.
You don't have to see the picture.
Absolutely.
Just hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, so you can execute, right? But that does not.
No.
But see, that's the thing. My
not
wife
work
was
like
also a colonel too, so
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah.
she wasn't trying to hear all the time what I was saying. But it's
funny.
It's all good.
Start with you, Jermain. When people no longer have to follow you, what have you learned about the real source and power of influence?
That's a great question. I think, and you know, you can use your kids as an example. So your kids that are now grown and they have their own families and they're doing their own thing. You would expect that they reach back out to you and ask you certain questions, but they don't have to, right?
Yeah.
They absolutely, you know, and I kind of, the way that they were brought up.
Yeah.
And I use the word train, right? But the way that they were brought up, I want them to be able to make those decisions without me, make good, sound decisions. But at the same time, when, you know, my daughter's a major now in the Army, and, you know, when she calls and she has leadership questions, I'm like, you know, the fact that she wants to call me and
warms you up, don't
yeah,
it? Your soul.
Yeah. So that's having them knowing that they don't have to, but they choose to talk to you means that there was something that along those years that was right. And same thing with soldiers.
Yeah.
Right. We're retired now, but we still keep in contact with soldiers and people that we've mentored. And so when they call you and when you talk to them and they say, you know, I never forget when you said, sir, and you know, you might have been chewing my ass at the time, but you know, I learned that, you know, X, Y,
Remember
Z.
this, they
I remember
remember
it. Yeah. So I think that's, for me, that's a big thing.
It's just being able to listen to folks and to, just like Jermain said, not try to give them the answer, but to give them you know, give them not to give them the exact answer. This is how you gonna do it. This makes the most sense to me, but you do it how you want to. You know, whatever you would think before with this, marry it up and see what it does. Because it might be a mix of both. You know, might be a mix. Because that's with my kids. I try not to. I learn that I'm not going to tell them exactly, this is how you do this and this is what you're going to do, because then it sounds too much like
a kid.
Yeah, like I'm ordering them or whatever, and understanding, you know, that the generation where they are now, the mid late 20s, is I listen, then I just say, okay, I understand. This is how I would go about, and I'm telling you this because I did that before, and it was I jacked it up. I'm telling you,
that's important, right? When they can see that. You're not just telling them something to be telling them. Right? You're telling them because
absolutely,
hey, I messed up in this area. This is where I bumped my head, and so these are some things that you want to look out for.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's what I think our kids. I mean, I try to get our kids, my kids, to understand. I think the same way with y'all is that I don't want to. If I can prevent you from making the same
100%.
Mistakes that I did,
100%,
then
I'm gonna talk till I pass out.
Please listen to me.
Yeah. No, I'm
Please
with you.
listen to me about that.
I'm with you on that.
I'm trying to make life easier for you. So
it's amazing how on paper leadership is one thing, right? Mm-hmm. It has all these characteristics, has all of these things, and you have to realize how to use that. Yep. Because when I learned influence works just as much as me threatening somebody.
Yeah.
And like y'all said before, you get buy-in when you're able to convince somebody without leading them to the freaking pool to drink. That was an amazing moment for me. And I learned it on the trail.
Yeah.
As a drill sergeant, it's just like, it's easy to stand and point and tell people to do things, right? But it's so much more rewarding when you see the people you're influenced, whether it's family or soldiers, when you see them thinking, you see them taking the stuff that you've introduced to them, I'm not going to say taught, but introduced to them, and then when they come up with an answer or a path that they want to take, that's just like, that's the whole point of leadership, right? And so being able to do that and feel that growth in my soldiers, it also, I felt the same way. I felt empowered when you're talking, say you're sitting down talking to your wife or your kids, and you're having a conversation, and you are wise enough because of your failures and experiences, to really listen and really build something together, whether it be a solution or life, and see that it's genuine and it's
you're inspiring. I mean, you're inspiring them with your, and that's the whole point of leadership. That's an art also, being able to listen and then know what to say, what inspiring things you need to say in order to motivate and influence, an individual, a team, or whatever, whoever you're talking to. So.
Agreed. But you also have to be careful, because on both sides of that scenario, you can get arrogant and you can get a little too confident, and you're messing around making people feel like you're the wise teacher, and, the puppet master leading them through. So it's something that you can develop and learn and master, but it's something you just can't stop working on.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a story for you.
Go ahead.
And so I think, and this is a great dynamic, right? Because we talked about it before. This is your command. This is your brigade command team right here.
Right.
You got the colonel, sergeant major, you got the senior warrant.
Right.
For warrant officers, there are not that many MOSs where you have the opportunity to actually lead soldiers, where you're responsible for them, you're counseling them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those soldiers that work in that shop or work in that section, they have an NCO that they belong to.
Absolutely.
And so, to your point about influence, learning that I had to figure out how to influence these soldiers in this section to get them to do what they needed to do in order to accomplish the mission for somebody else.
Right.
Not my mission.
Right.
But somebody else's mission.
Right.
That it was critical. And so I'm in the S3 briefing one time, and I got my slide up. And
it's a great slide, though.
It's a great slide. It's an awesome slide. And I'm briefing it to the colonel, and I'm going through all the data and all the metrics, and I made the mistake of saying, so we decided to do X, Y, Z.
Okay.
And he said, Chief, you don't decide to do anything. So, what are you talking about? And this is we're in the brigade meeting.
This ain't one-on-one.
This ain't one-on-one. And so, like you said, I'm thinking, I'm this squared away chief, and I was W-2 at the time, as a matter of fact. So you already know. But I thought that, I'm the squared away warrant officer, and I'm giving the colonel exactly what he wants. Right. And so I'm being proactive.
And to give Jermain a little bit. Now, warrant officers they are literally the subject matter experts on what comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
So you can see where his confidence coming from. Yeah. But he was a W-2.
But learning. This is a learning experience for me, right? Yeah. No, you don't make decisions. You give me the information so I can make the decision.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that was a learning thing for me. But it took me a long time in the military, right? So I got it at that point.
Right.
But it took me a long time as a husband.
Oh, my God.
To say, maybe this is one of them times where
I'm not the decision
maker on this.
Shut up. I just need to listen.
And I need to give her what support and information that she needs. And and help her
Yeah.
to make the decision that needs to be made. So yeah, that's
what I learned. Just shut up. Shut up. Listen, as long as it ain't gonna make you broke, it ain't ain't gonna drain the bank account, and it's everybody's still gonna be safe. And it's like, okay.
And especially until you figure out how to really have that conversation, you have to shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you're adding conflict to the situation, and it's not going to turn out good. And I'm going to tell you, I'm only speaking from experience because it took me, and I'm still learning how to shut up, how to ask, and how to listen, and how to, like something simple, like, right, if I'm going to go somewhere, I don't stop without saying, do you need me to get you anything?
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something
So
that
you announced that I'm leaving, going here.
Yeah.
Anybody need some?
10 years ago,
Okay.
I'm not.
Just
That's
out the door.
not in my head. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, the selfish, self-focused man, that was not something that I was used to
I mean,
doing.
that's some young, because my son does that.
Yeah.
My 25-year-old I'll be sitting on the couch. He'll walk right by,
And
right
head
out the door, won't say a word. And I'm just like, boy,
I really had a
you
taste
ain't gonna
for
be able to
some.
get in the house when you come back. Locks is gonna be changed.
Yeah.
But it's just thinking about, that one track mind about me and
Getting it done.
So that's one thing I try to work on him with. Is like, hey, dude, you just need to speak to other folks, let folks know where you're going. Because we do it with you. You know when we're leaving or when we're going somewhere, or we'll text or call or whatever. So need to try to show some of that mutual respect back and forth. So he's like, oh, I didn't, because it's not.
It is not
Clicking
in
in
your
the head
head.
like that, not thinking about it. So,
Yeah.
so who has taught you the most about your own leadership, and were you ready to hear it when they did? When they set you down and they said?
So, in this honest moment, right? A lot of the time, growing up as a leader, a lot of potential mentors, they really, they weren't aggressively coming to me to be my mentor. And it has nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me thinking I knew everything and the way I carried myself. I carried myself with a confidence that, like I told you before, I believe people misunderstand the difference between arrogance and confidence, right? Because arrogance is a lot more, there's a lot more room for you to fail when you're arrogant. When you're confident, I see it as I've done my research. I've made sure that I know what I'm doing. So when I walk in this room, I'm not ignoring the fact that you're talking to me. I'm just making sure you're coming at me with the facts.
Yeah, that's what I think when you're talking about arrogance. I think you go in with, I already know what
Absolutely.
the answer is. I already know what I'm going to do. I already know what's right.
Over.
And with the confidence, I think you go in with, I'm confident to go with this, but I'm open to, I'm open to listen and hear, what's going on with the situation.
And so the first person that took the time to mentor me, I was a junior staff sergeant. I was like about a year and a half, because when I got selected for staff sergeant, when I made the cutoff, I automatically became the headquarters platoon sergeant. So I was literally the youngest, most junior staff sergeant in the company, but I was selected to be the platoon sergeant over like 6 or 7 other non-commissioned officers. So that fed me, right? And it gave me fuel to where, okay, I'm on the right track. And so my confidence was borderline arrogance, because it was getting to the point to where I didn't think I was, I knew what was supposed to be, right? I knew how to do it, how to be a non-commissioned officer, because obviously I did it as an E5, Sergeant E5. So now they saw that. So now I'm ahead of these jokers, right? And so after I did my year, the first sergeant, he knew he was causing a little problem by putting me there, but he also wanted me to get that experience. Didn't realize he was mentoring me at that time. But then I went to, he took me out of there, and then he put me in the battalion S3. And in the S3, I was a staff sergeant that already had a platoon sergeant or NCOER on my docket in my packet. And so I was leaning forward, trying to learn, trying to master what I was doing there. But we had an E8, and I still can't remember his daggone name right now. But anyway, he had just left being a first sergeant, and he came to be the NCOIC of the S3 shop. And he saw the energy and the capability in me, right? But he also saw that if I didn't get control of myself, I was going to be so far over that there's no way I would succeed, right? Because nobody wants to deal with a know-it-all. Nobody wants to deal with a jerk. And so what he did, he'd start talking to me, and he wasn't talking to me as a buddy. He wasn't talking to me as a brother. He was talking to me as like a fatherly type of thing. And we were out in front of the battalion, and you remember this. It was a 6th Trans Battalion. And if you're standing facing 6th Trans Battalion, to your left, you had JNOC, right? It was a junior non-commissioned officer course. Yeah. And it was sort of like a pre-PLDC, right? And so it was available for PFCs and specialists, up to specialist promotable. And we were standing outside the battalion, and we were talking about something that going on in the shop. And there was a specialist, didn't know her rank, but she pulled up and she parked. And it's the old style battalions to where it's the headquarters and then the two sides, right? And she just pulled up in the parking lot and just didn't park in a spot, just parked right in front of JNOC. And he looked at me and didn't say anything. He looked at me and he saw my energy, you know. He was like, "What are you about to do?" I was like, "Go tell this joker they can't park there." He's like, "I got that." He was like, "But let me ask you a question. Do you know why she parked there?" I was like, "No, but there's parking spots available." But he stopped me, and he went down. He was like, "Well, what if somebody passed away? Or what if she's bringing an emergency message to somebody or one of the instructors that's in JNOC?" You know, he was giving me all these things, and the more he talked to me, the more I was calming down, because you know how it was. Yeah. Back then, people don't really know a lot about Fort Eustis, but Fort Eustis was either you're a lion or a sheep, and if you were a lion, people knew about it. And if you were a sheep, people knew about it. Yeah. So, because transportation, it's the home of transportation, but there's an academic side to Eustis, and then there's an operational side. And that operational side, we were the tip of the spear. You know what I'm saying? We were the transporters that we felt like everybody wanted to be. Because we had an outstanding transportation company of truck drivers. We had an outstanding company of cargo handlers. We had the boaties. We had the smartest people in the Army. You felt were there all the time, right?
Yeah, at one point, it used to be 7th Group, 7th Transportation Brigade. At one point, and this is history, but they tell you that, and it's drilled into you that. It's the most deployed unit. At one time, it was the most deployed unit in the Army.
Yeah.
And past 82nd, past 101st, past the Ranger Tab, like that brigade, because everybody needs some component of transportation. They do stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, you grew up. And they make sure that you know that.
Yeah.
And so, if you're squared away, if you're a lion in that unit, then
you're going to look.
Yeah,
and I'm not being funny. I'm being honest, right? And so when you become an E5, there's a thing in your mind where you're the sprinter. You know what I'm saying? You're the first one that's supposed to stop silliness. You're the first one that's supposed to make corrections and all that
Regulating.
stuff. Oh my God! And then staff sergeant is another set of standards. Then sergeant first class, all that, and so. that moment, it was like a 30-minute conversation total, but 15 minutes on that moment. And it made me, for the first time in my life, stop and think before I get so aggressive.
Acting.
Oh, man. And then he made me understand, because he made me understand that the way you deal with people, the way you approach people, the energy you bring determines the energy you get back. Yeah. And I already told you about the time I was brand new staff sergeant, just got the platoon, and one of my soldiers told me what they weren't going to do for a special population PT, and I'm about to fight this joker. I'm serious. I had a platoon sergeant from another company, because, you know, we all had formation back there, and my first sergeant coming and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I was about to put hands on that joker, right? Because that's what I thought was right. But a year and some change later, I'm learning that, hey, your energy is what, you know, if you come and talk to somebody, it's amazing how much they shift, you know. And so that was the first time, I know it's a long answer, but that was the first time when somebody checked me and made me realize that, okay, maybe my way ain't actually the best way to go about this. Yeah. So what about you?
I got a lot of examples. And I've been very fortunate in my life and in my career. I had a lot of great leaders, a lot of great mentors. But along the way, you kind of learn some things. And I think it started with, I'm going to shout out to my high school here, IC Norcom, the greatest high school on the planet.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Our head coach, his nickname was Joe Red.
Joe Red.
And anybody who played high school football at Norcom, they would tell you the same thing. Those first leadership lessons to kind of shape you into who you are as a man, we learned those things on that football team. Yeah. He was old school, but you knew that he was hard, right? Yeah. But you knew that he cared about you, and you know, he would get on people, and because you wanted to please him so bad, right? He'd get on star people, and you know, they be in tears. Yeah. And it was one of those things where you didn't even look at it, you know, normal. It's like, okay, that's just what's going on,
right?
But that was the first, I think, instance playing high school football and being under that old school coach, to where, you know, you have to be what you think you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. And then as a young, high-speed E6 in the brigade, made E6 quick, which was, you know, probably a mistake, because I'm an E6 and barely. I've been an NCO now longer than I've been a soldier. And, you know, I get a platoon, so now I'm like...
Feeling yourself.
I'm feeling myself. And there was this one time we had a 4-day weekend, and one of my soldiers wanted to leave Thursday instead of Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And Monday was the 4-day.
You wanted a 5-day,
and they wanted to leave on Thursday. But this is after the duty day.
Oh, okay.
Right. So after the duty day on Thursday, and so I'm like, okay, and I'm checking everything, and I'm making sure they have everything they're supposed to have, and I'm like, okay, so you just keep your phone on in case something happened, and then, you know, you go ahead and do your thing. And they were going like across the country to see their family for the 4-day.
Okay.
Well, lo and behold, the company,
the recon,
not recon, but for whatever reason, the soldier comes up on duty.
Oh my God!
And
duty roster.
They're not there. And so the first sergeant called me. He's like, "Where's your soldier?" I'm like, "First sergeant, they don't leave." He was like, "What do you mean?" You know, and I'm like, we've had meetings after meetings after meetings. We got the list. Everybody knows who's going to be on leave.
The roster's posted.
The roster's posted. Somebody couldn't do it, and somebody else couldn't do it, and you know how they go down the line, especially when you're one below. Mm-hmm. And their name and that rank, they was the next person up.
Popped up. Mm.
So I actually got not a field grade Article 15, but company grade Article 15.
Ooh, you did?
I did.
Ooh, and?
still had to do extra duty. I had to pull that duty that the soldier was
That's what I was waiting on. That's my fix.
So that was, I was like, how is this happening to me, of all people?
Especially when you thinking you going and checking everything.
Right.
Yeah, thinking you going
And I'm
about it the
taking
right
care of
way.
my soldier, right? But, the soldier got to stay where they were at. And for me, it was a lesson.
Yeah.
And then I had another instance where the warrant officer who wrote my warrant officer letter for my packet,
Okay.
I ended up working for them. We're on a boat. And so in the Army, on these ships, you have 4 warrant officers. You have 8 warrant officers. You have a skipper who's the captain, and then you have warrant officers under him, and then you have like 12 to 15 enlisted.
Okay.
And so brand new W-1. And I'm working for the captain on the ship, and he's the person who wrote my warrant officer letter. We worked together in Panama, and he loved me.
So y'all were good.
We were good.
Yeah.
And we were doing something, and I'm down there, and I'm getting my hands dirty. I'm letting the soldiers know that I'm still with you.
Right.
I'm a warrant, but
I ain't new to this.
I'm still with you. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
He calls me up to the bridge, and he was like, if you still want to be an E6,
Yeah,
I
what
can
you
make
doing?
you, I can help you out. And I was flabbergasted because I'm thinking, I'm doing the right thing. I'm helping these soldiers out.
Motivating, they seeing
I'm
it.
motivating
One of
them.
them.
They see me down there. He was like, no.
That's not what we do.
That ain't your role.
If you are so far down in the weeds, you can't see the big picture.
I see the day.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was an eye-opening experience for me. And then this last time, so we're at the warrant officer school at Fort Rucker, and so the warrant officer school is like it's like OCS.
Yeah.
WOCS is what
You
it's
was an
called.
instructor?
I was an instructor. That's where I met. That's where I met my wife.
Gotcha.
And so everybody there, every warrant that gets assigned there is the best of the best. They only allow a certain number of MOSs to even go there.
Right.
On top of that, and I don't, I try to be very humble, and I'm trying to be very, 'cause I have to work on not being arrogant and cocky, right?
Right.
But at the time, there had never been a transportation warrant assigned to the warrant officer school.
Oh, really?
The first
Wow.
one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Wow.
you got this young,
High speed.
Had to write
warrant
the
officer
job
Champions.
description. Yeah, all of that.
who is doing his thing.
Yeah.
And so much so that, toward it's a 3-year tour. So at 2 years, you either go back to the field or they'll put you on a staff, whether you're the company commander there or, doing something else.
Right.
I got selected to be the senior TAC officer.
Okay.
So now you're the TAC officer in charge of all the other warrant officers.
Right.
So I'm like,
The man. Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? We had a situation where we didn't get the warrant officers to class in time, so they didn't have an opportunity to take a shower at the PT. Now, let me preface that. This is one of the last bastions of 1970s, 1980s, like. We, at this time, and this was early 2000s, we were still getting it in.
Right.
Like, we were still smoking jokers.
Yeah. PT
We were
was real.
Yeah, we
Gotcha.
were like, class goes to academics, right? And and you sit in class for 8 hours, and you're learning all this officer-type stuff, how to be an officer, how to be a leader.
Right.
And they got to class that day, and they hadn't taken a shower, and
Oh, my.
the senior instructor, who will remain nameless, but we all know who she is, she calls the colonel and says, "Sir, come to this classroom so you can experience for yourself what's going on." So he comes and sees what's going on, and 10 minutes later, he said, "Mr. Williamson, you got 2 minutes to get to my office." And when I tell you, at this time, I had been in the military 19, 20, 21 years. I'm a W-3. I had never ever experienced an ass chewing like that from '06. I know that '06 has the power to reach over and pull that Velcro off and
you play
send
with
you
them.
on your way. I know that, right?
Right.
This man was so upset. He was spitting. I thought he was going to come across the desk. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to fight this guy. That's how mad he was. And under no uncertain terms, he was like, you do what I tell you to do. This is not 1970. This is not 1980. This is not the time when you went to warrant officer school, Mr. Williamson. And I picked you because I thought that you were going to do all these things. And if you can't do it, I will select somebody else. Do I make myself clear? And that was crystal, sir. There's zero mills between what you're saying and my understanding. And so, fortunate that he gave me an opportunity to kind of fix the situation.
Absolutely.
And, I did that. But a great learning lesson, leadership-wise, from, and it's the right thing to do is to make sure that those soldiers are taken care of. And then you explain why, if they're late to class.
Yeah.
Right.
This is why they're late to class versus, the other things.
Other
So,
people
That's
find
easier
the
to
people that
take.
need to know
Right.
find out
Right.
later.
They would have been much,
Yeah.
amenable to, they're late because we had to make sure they were squared away
Right.
versus
Yeah.
they on time. They 10 minutes early.
And they stink.
But you didn't afford them the opportunity to take a shower.
Yeah.
So
That's a problem.
yeah, that was a great learning lesson for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you.
Early on, when I was like a young lieutenant, and, young lieutenant captain, I had some very good NCOICs
Okay.
that would come and
Reel
talk
you
to
in.
me. Yeah, that would give me some good, really good advice as far as interacting with, especially with my job, and like I'm working with on the floor and stuff with a lot of the soldiers and stuff. So just the interaction, how I was interacting with them.
They were your age.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, a lot of them like around right the same age as me. So I'm in my mind. I'm thinking, what you said earlier. I just got to show them that I'm with them. I'm down. I can do that too.
Yeah.
So they explained to me, no, sir, that's not what you do. That's you got some more education than that, and this is what's going to be expected of you. So we need you. I need you to.
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z, because I want them to want to strive to be where you are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That was something that stuck in my mind, and that NCOIC was always somebody who I could reach back to if I needed to, and he always looked out for me. But a lot of my my stuff came from my wife, because situations or whatever that were happening at work, and I talking to her about.
But she was a year ahead of you, right?
I was about a year,
Yeah.
and then like military time, about a year and a half as far as things. But she was in jobs where she was going to be, commander. And so it was just different for a medical service corps. So she got to see a little more of that than me being in the hospital at the beginning. So
Different atmosphere. Yeah.
and then she was just, Audrey was she was our battalion commander in ROTC in school, graduating from school. So she was a hard charger. So I would tell her what was going on. I would talk to, because I had really good classmates also between my class and her class that I would reach back with, because the medical part, it's, and this is not everybody, but it's hard because you have doctors and stuff that they come in and are already captains, and they don't have the leadership back, experience and things that you have
They're not
as
green.
a lieutenant. So
Yeah.
that's like more than them sometimes, and they're your raider or something like that. So a lot of things I learned what not to do. Because it was like this is not working. This is not something that I will do in the future, or when I'm
When I get
really
there.
in charge. So I learned a lot from that way, but I learned a lot also where somebody's gonna be real with you and say that was stupid. And I got that from my beloved. Like, that was stupid. Why would you do that? They're not gonna respect you if you do something like that. Or did you listen?
Yeah.
No. Was I supposed to?
Right.
So So for my wife and then friends, I mean, I always call a friend. I call Houston and be like, "Hey, Terrence, man, what's this? This is the situation, you know, in my thing. How would you come? How would you do it? How would you come about? Or does this sound right?" And then I would call my father. A lot of times I would just call my father, because my father, he was principal, a dean, so he had was in leadership of a bunch of folks, and it's I'd say that's probably the most similar situation for me as far as dealing with nurses and other medical professions, because you get a lot of those folks that come in as direct commissionees. You don't get a lot of medical things, and then you have a lot of younger folks that are in, and it's like, okay, how do I go about leading and motivating these folks? So I would run things by my father, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds about right," or "Don't do that, because you're not gonna get the result that you want."
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it was I had really good examples like y'all did. Y'all had some good stories.
No.
Yeah, but I had some.
We ain't proud of them moments.
But that's how you learn, though. As long as you don't go back and do the same thing. I mean, that's those things that I learned them. Where it's like you mess up, you don't. If you go back and do the same thing over again, then it's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
So
Ain't no explanations.
I mean, you gotta. I mean, I the one thing that I did that I learned was that I had to learn is to listen and to just I can't lead I couldn't lead the same way in every position or every duty assignment that I was at.
Right.
I had to change it as as the number of folks that I was in charge of, the mission that that was in front of me. So it was like, okay, this is how I got to go.
That's the definition of leadership, right?
Yeah,
so leadership is based on what you have to do, the environment that you're in, and who you lead. And so that's
but I had to.
Definition.
I mean, early I had to learn that because I understood that I couldn't lead the same way at Fort Knox. Then when I got to like Fort Lewis, when I got to Madigan, because it was totally different. Mission totally different, number of folks, people, and all of that.
Yeah.
So
100%. All right, so let me ask y'all. We'll start with you, Jermain. Through every stage of your life, what's one leadership principle you've refused to compromise, no matter who you were leading?
That's another good question. And you kind of, I don't want to say learn the hard way, but you kind of you got to learn this so that you get it. You have to be a truth teller.
Yeah. Integrity is a must.
You got to have integrity.
Yeah.
You got to be honest at all costs. Yeah. Because if you're not honest, then you don't have any trust from those people that you're trying to provide influence to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one of those things that you got to kind of learn, and that's across the board, whether it's at work, whether it's at home.
Yep.
You got to be honest. So that you can build that trust with those people that you're trying to lead wherever it is they want to go, they need to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, because that takes courage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Tommie were talking about it the other day. Is like just having in your marriage, you got to have the courage to speak clearly and freely with your spouse. Yeah. Because if you don't,
you suffer in silence.
Yeah, you're gonna suffer in silence. So, but I absolutely agree, man. That's a quality that you have to do in order to be effective.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to, because you're not going to influence anybody. You're not going to inspire anybody, especially if they know that you lying or again blowing smoke up there.
Right.
But
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like for me, I agree. The thing for me is I know I had to understand that I'm aggressive. I have to understand that I'm a standard enforcer. And I have to understand that to be that, I have to do that. I have to emulate that. Mm-hmm. And so my integrity came by my actions, right? So I would choose somebody out in a heartbeat, like for being downrange and out of uniform, right? But no matter what time you saw me on that battlefield, I was in the proper uniform. You know what I'm saying? And I really felt that. I've always felt that if you as a person have true good intentions for anybody, then your process can be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to mess your career up. I'm not trying to ruin you and your aspirations or whatever. I am truly trying to A, accomplish the mission, and B, make sure that you're up to it, and then C, make sure that you are ready to move away from me.
It's easier to. I think it's easier to accept or easier to follow if you have somebody that's, they're living, they're talking the talk.
That's exactly
then somebody
it.
just saying, "Do as I say,
Absolutely.
not as I do."
And then when
would
you
drive me crazy.
And when you live that way and you stay that way, then your integrity and that motivation and inspiration that y'all talked about, it helps the mission. It helps everything because now people are invested because they know you're not full of crap. They know you're invested because they know you have their best interest, lined up and set up for them. And so you're more likely to build something that's going to be legitimate, a team of people that's going to actually go out there and make things happen. So,
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably another thing. If you say 1A, this is probably 1B. The other thing is that we'll call it reputation, but another way to say it is, your name, right?
Legacy.
We tell our kids your name, right? Your
Pride.
name is not just, you're my son. And your last name is
you're freaking Jones.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Figure it out. Yeah.
So with your family and your kids, you kind of have that, but in the military as well, that's kind of where
Absolutely.
where that's molded.
Yeah.
And another story. I had been on the general's command team when I met Tommie, and maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I don't know how long I've been there. I know I've been there a little bit longer than him. So when he got there as the new sergeant major, I remember the first meeting that he was at, they didn't have his name plate on the table.
Yeah.
And it's not, not for me to do per se.
Especially as a W-5.
Right. It's not for me to do per se, but I'm looking like,
You got people.
like, why is the sergeant major not, but the next time we had a meeting, he was right beside, his boss. And we had a little talk, and I was like, I'm not trying to discourage you or anything, but this is something that you're going to have to shepherd, spearhead, because the situation is what it is.
Yeah.
And this is why things happen the way they happen. Yeah. But I didn't know who Tommie was, but I knew that if he got picked to be the sergeant major of this position, then this guy is squared away. And there's no way that I can't have him in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because we need him on the team so he can bring that, that fight.
Yeah.
And so I think your reputation that you build in the military and at home.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably, the one beat, knowing that your wife knows this is Lance. He's going to do what he said he's going to do.
Yep.
And it's going to be squared away. Yeah. So I think that's another thing I think is important.
Yeah.
That
I'll even add to that. It's the fact of we've been talking a lot about subordinates, and we've been talking a lot about the consequences of getting chewed out or getting mentored and checked and set up the right way. But when you're starting being a senior, actually, you should learn this when you're a junior, right? Staff sergeant below, in my mind, specifically a W-2 and below, and a captain and below. You should start to learn that your influence and your reputation can affect your seniors too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you invest in that and you are credible, that brings you so much to where maybe one day you could say as a W-2, we made the decision because that colonel knows who you are. Right. That colonel knows you, trusts you, and all that stuff. Yeah. So,
it influences assignments and stuff.
Oh my God!
I know a lot of assignments that I got later on in my thing was because
of your reputation. Yeah,
that's what we need to send them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and it was a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
well, you know, you're
go
going.
there,
That's
but it's
the
like,
consequence of it.
Okay, let's go see. But it was always one of those where it's like, okay, that's the challenge. Let's see what we can do. So
Yeah.
And no matter what job you're in, if you're good to great, you're going to work harder than everybody else. Most of the times because you want to, but a lot of the time as well, it's because I can't rely on them. Hey, Sergeant Major. Hey, Big Chief. Hey,
because everybody wants to be successful.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
I need the best team. That's one of those things where if you could
we got to make this happen.
Could draft your team, your command team,
And stay
all
with
that
you
stuff
for-
when you were in. I was like, gee, I said, I wish I could draft. I would get to some place and be like, I need to be able to draft some people and trade some. Because there's some folks where it's like, I need to fire you. I need to fire. I need to bring somebody else in because this ain't working.
Not how are you in the military, but how are you breathing every morning?
All right, Tommie. After retirement, where have you found the greatest purpose for your leadership now that no one is handing you that authority anymore?
For me now, it's all about, I'm number 2 now, right? And so Nikki, with our travel business, and then even on this podcast, even you've had to check me a couple times to say, hold up, Sergeant Major. Let's talk about this a different way. Stop ordering me to do stuff. So I had to understand that. And then I also had to, and I can relate to you because it's the same thing. I had to give you my vision. Same thing, I had to give Nikki my vision, but then I had to step back and see if that's what your vision is. Like, for instance, us, I brought you into this podcast and you didn't have any idea of really what I was trying to do. And so I ended up giving you notes and notes and notes, right? But I didn't have a real conversation with him. And so we started having conversations, and then he agreed. And then I was like, I don't know if he really understands what we're on the verge of doing. So I was like, hey man, there's an opportunity for us to go to Orlando and be around a bunch of podcasters. And then he went down there and he was like, oh, this is what you were talking about. And then he got insight. And it's the same for Nikki. It's because Nikki has always wanted to be an entrepreneur. That's where her master's is in business, and she's always talked about it. And so I had to understand that I love travel, but it's not my dream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My dream was to make Sergeant Major in the United States Army, and I made that, right? And so now it's my time. So my energy now is not just how I can help in these situations. My energy is focused on how can I see something that my teammate or my partner is in, and how can I give energy to some of the weaknesses or something that they're not so strong about. So that's how I had to do it. So what about you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Kind of the same, but maybe a little bit different. My worldview. So I have a Christian worldview, and I believe that the Lord makes the man the head of the house. Right. But realistic experience tells us you may be the head of the house, but your wife, her intentions and her desires kind of dictate
Absolutely
what we do. And so I think for my purpose, if we look at it just as you spoke to, Lance, that sometimes you get assignments and sometimes you get to go places because people know who you are, because you're squared away.
right.
I think that for us, our wives picked us because they saw something, some potential in us, right?
That they didn't see in anybody else.
And so it's like, how do I make sure that I'm living up to that and I'm doing everything that I need to do to make sure she's successful.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they've entrusted us with their kids, and you know, they expect us to be good fathers.
Yeah.
And so, what am I doing to make sure that you know, I'm being a good dad, and I'm being a good husband.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being a good person overall. Yeah. And so, I think you know, now, you know, my purpose is kind of making sure that as you get older, and you know, we have those old matriarchs of the family, that you're representing what that old matriarch, that old uncle or granddad, whatever it is, people can come to and kind of ask, you know, what is life all about?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's
yeah. So scratch what I said. I like his answer better. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I think which I embrace is to be that support.
Yeah.
That support system for my family, my immediate family, and my family. I got cousins and brother and sister. I'm there to be that calm, relaxed ear, you know, that cheerleader, all of that stuff for those folks now, and to whatever knowledge I have to say, hey, here it is right here. Yeah. So and I embrace that because I asked my wife told me, she said, you are so much more relaxed now that you've been retired. She said, it is so nice. Yeah. And I was like, man, I appreciate that. I said, I didn't realize that I was a bomb like that. She was like, ooh, said you would blow up at a moment's notice about something. She said, but here just to really to support them because Audrey, when she retired and went back to work, so I'm here and I'm her biggest support, cheerleader, what you need. I got, you know, my kids, they're starting off in their early in their careers. I'm here to help them, motivate them, and, you know, get them to where they want to be. You know, not where I want them to be, but where they want to be. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just here to be that support system, and I'm happily embracing that. So
that's outstanding.
It's good.
Yeah. Years from now, when your children, your family, and the people you've influenced talk about your leadership, what's the one thing you hope they never have to question?
I think that I always want people that I care about to know that you can call me and I'm your ride or die. Yeah. If we need to go throw hands somewhere,
and that's what we're going to do.
You ran out of gas, you know, whatever. Don't suffer in silence. Yeah. Hopefully, I've you know, had enough influence, especially on the kids and my friends. You know, I'm somebody who they know if I had to call him, he's gonna help.
Yeah. Right.
So that
he's
would
gonna
be
answer the phone.
Yeah. He's gonna answer the phone. That would be my thing.
Yeah.
But you know what's worse about them type of dudes?
Get called all the time.
No, they don't call other people. They suffer in
silence.
Never do that
because
we're all that dude. That. We're that dude.
I do that.
Yeah.
We're that dude.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's a good point. Good point.
Mine is that's similar things that I care.
Yeah.
No, I care and I'm there, you know, for you. If you need something, let me know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be the first one to get up and say, yep, I'll be there in a minute. Let me see what I can do. But I'm not good at that. No. Because I feel like I don't want to bother anybody.
I know.
I know. I feel like I don't want to burden anybody else with my problem.
You
If I need
10
something,
toes down when somebody comes and tells you, I didn't want to bother you. I agree and understand exactly what you said, but I know that as a leader in my career, I had a lot of fire. You know what I'm saying? And I held a lot of people to standard. Mm-hmm. And so my biggest hope and the biggest heartwarming moments is when people I care about, as well as former soldiers, come back and say, I understand. Or thank you for holding me to my feet to the fire. Mm-hmm. That's one, because and another honest moment, there were times when even I was like, you know, I see other battle buddies, peers, first sergeant, sergeant majors, and they'd be all buddy,
Yeah.
Hanging out, getting beers and going to clubs. And I'm just like, I'd seen first sergeants do that. And I'm just like, I don't understand that, And then I had to check myself. I'm like, I'd rather have half the company mad at me than everybody love me because they know I'm going to buy the next round. You know what I'm saying? And so so that's why I was like, when soldiers and emails and when they come to you in person or they tell somebody else to see you, especially now with the podcast and on social media, to have soldiers come back and tell you that I get it or they appreciate it, that is what's so heartwarming to me. Yeah, and that makes me feel like, the efforts I did
that
were
influence
legit. Absolutely.
and actually really touching somebody the way that you want to.
Yeah.
As I think about this conversation, one truth stands out. The Army spent years teaching us how to lead soldiers, but our wives, our children, and the people closest to us simply hope we learn how to love and lead them as well. The principle never changed. The audience did. The people who mattered most never needed the best sergeant major, colonel, or chief warrant officer 5. They needed the best husband, father, and man we could become. Because when the uniform comes off and the titles are gone, your real legacy isn't your rank. It's whether the people you love felt loved by the way you led them.
Brother, hey. Thank you so much for spending time with us and for sharing your experiences. I really appreciate your friendship. I know you felt so close to me that you moved to San Antonio, so I feel like that's my fault. No, but
I'm glad you felt that way. So I appreciate it.
No, but seriously, I wanted you on this episode because I respect you not only for your accomplishments but as a man. Yep. So thank you for being here, brother.
Yep, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I was looking forward to this for a long time. We had a great conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the next podcast.
Absolutely. Right. We got you.
Right.
We got you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be something. And to everyone listening, thank you for spending part of your day with us. If today's conversation made you think about the way you led at work or at home or in your community, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And until next time, let's keep the conversation going.
There it is.